Hey there. I wanted to talk a little bit, do a quick tip for Comm 102. This is week 7, and we're talking about conflict and communication climate. I particularly wanted to talk about conflict. There's a lot there in the conflict chapter. There's a lot of discussion about how people deal with conflict. Really, there's 5 different ways that we will fall into to deal with conflict. We all have our natural state that we go to, one of the 5. The book does a nice job of covering that. But what I wanted to focus on with this one was a way to handle conflict that helps you reach collaboration. Because collaboration is one of the 5 ways that we can deal with resolving conflict. And with collaboration, better than any of the rest of them, really the only one that is fully win-win. Some people would say, well, compromise is win-win. It's not really, because compromise means that some of your needs get met, some of your needs don't, some of their needs get met, some of their needs don't. So there's still some things out there to resolve. Conflict is always about someone's needs are not getting met. That's the definition. Someone has a need, it's not getting met. Someone else is inhibiting the ability for that need to be met, and we have a conflict. And both parties have to know that there's a problem. If you have a need that's not being met and you don't tell anybody else about it, the only conflict you really have there is with yourself, because you haven't told the other person, hey, I've got a need that's not being met and you're in the way of it being met. And until you do that, you don't really have a conflict. Once you tell them, though, of course, it means that you've got a conflict and now you've got to find a way to resolve it. And there's a really basically simple way. I already went to screen share. There's a really kind of simple way to deal with conflict in a way that approaches it respectfully, because by now you've read the communication climate chapter and most of the conflict chapter. You have to approach this with respect. People aren't going to be responsive, participative, any of that in the wrong communication climate. You've got to create a climate where they feel they're respected, they feel like their input matters. And that's what this does. It's a real easy 7-step method. Negotiators, third-party mediators use this all the time. I've used it a number of times to resolve conflict. The problem with it is, if you can even call it a problem, is that it takes some time to do. Some of the other methods, if you just decide everything regardless, you just power your way through and decide it. That's a quick decision, right? Collaboration, by definition, takes longer because everybody's contributing. And this step-by-step method definitely takes longer. But in the end, everybody feels like they won. And you actually kind of join everybody together to solve a common problem, which is really what conflict is, right? It's 2 different viewpoints of a problem, but by doing it this way, everybody kind of gets a better sense for how the other parties in the conflict feel and where they're coming from. So, 7-step process, resolving conflict. The first one should be easy. Define your needs. What is it that isn't being met? What needs are not being met? And this isn't just define it, it's write it down. Find a whiteboard, a chalkboard, a flip chart, computer screen where everybody can see, something where you can write down all of your needs. So that, and it may just be one, but write down what is not being met. What is the need? The next step is to share your needs with the other person. That's by definition when you have a conflict. Up to that point, you don't, because you haven't told the other person. So you need to share with them, hey, I've got this need, it's not being met. Step 3 is probably obvious at this point. They need to have done the same thing. So they have to write down what is their need, what's not being met, and they need to share it with you. Or if you're the third-party mediator, you need to get party A's needs and party B's needs. And you listen to what the other person's needs are, and you write them all down. And it is really beneficial. This is why I say get a whiteboard or a chalkboard or something where you can write them all down. Write them all down in one column. Don't differentiate between party A's needs and party B's needs, or my needs and your needs. List them all in one column. So it's just a list of needs. Here's the problem. You've now defined, here's the problem. We have needs that need to be met. Now we've got to go about doing that. And so that's where step 4 comes in. You start generating possible solutions. You start brainstorming. And if you've ever participated in brainstorming, there are no bad ideas. In brainstorming, your goal is to come up with as many different ideas as possible, no matter how out there they might initially seem or how crazy they are or anything. You don't analyze the solutions. You don't pick on the other person for what they think of, or tell them, oh, well, that's just outrageous or stupid. You encourage any kind of solution you can find, because you'd be amazed when you get a list of solutions up, you maybe combine 2 or 3 of them and you get a workable solution. So I use Post-it notes, put Post-it notes up, usually next to the need that they're addressing, say, here's the solution, here's the solution, here's the solution. And you just generate as many solutions as possible. Now you're looking at a list of needs that everybody is now trying to solve. And you've got a whole bunch of solutions that you're now going to have to weed through, which is step 5. Evaluate all those solutions. Figure out what's actually feasible. Some are not feasible. Maybe you need to combine some. Maybe somebody sees something that others don't. This is where you hash through all of those possible solutions and pick out the best ones to address that list of needs. And then step 6 is you implement those solutions. Put them into practice and see what happens. And this is part of where it becomes difficult, because you have to wait a lot of times. You aren't going to get, I know we live in an instant world, but solutions don't always happen that way. So sometimes you have to implement a solution and wait hours, days, weeks, sometimes, to see, are we seeing a change? Is the need being met? Is there an improvement? This does not end here. And this is where, sadly, a lot of people stop. Well, we implemented our solutions and it didn't fix it, because you didn't go back and do step 7. Step 7 is the most critical step. You have to give it time to see if your solution can be met, and then you need to follow up. Bring everybody back to table that's got a vested interest in whatever the conflict is. Put the list back up on the wall and say, okay, we implemented these solutions. What needs got met? What needs didn't? Maybe some needs got partially met. What are the end results? And then talk about, do we extend the time some more and get back together and see if it's working itself out? Have we run out of those solutions? So then we go back up here and we generate more possible solutions and evaluate those and re-implement those. And that's why it takes a little bit longer to collaborate, because you may do steps 4, 5, and 6, 2, 3, 4 times, refining your solutions. Maybe you're taking part of the need out and you still got part of the need to finish, or maybe you didn't attack the need at all. That solution didn't do what you thought it would do, but you keep going back and throwing more solutions at it until you reach a resolution. And then you don't have to follow up anymore. But the follow-up is critical, because everybody needs to say, yeah, our needs are met, or no, it doesn't look like we met need number 3 or need number 4. The other thing that this does is it forces everybody to work together. By putting them in one column, you don't have the this is mine and this is yours anymore. It's just, here's our end goal. We got to get rid of all of these, and everybody's working towards solving that problem. So now everybody's working together towards the same goal. You actually build a bond that way. And it takes a lot of the defensiveness and all the negativity out of the whole process. So like I said, it works really well. It's a very simple 7-step process. It really kind of falls common sense when you think about how this works, but it does work really well. So try it the next time you've got a conflict situation, and it doesn't matter what anybody's natural conflict resolution process is. Sit them down, work them through this process, take the emotion out of it, take the mine and yours part out of it, and start focusing on, here's the problem, here's the solutions, let's implement the solutions and see if we can't knock out this problem, and then put this thing away. So that's it. Hopefully that helps you understand those processes a little bit. stop share. And I will probably put up another quick tip or two this week. I'm not sure. This is Wednesday afternoon. This is the second time I did this. I did this earlier on my computer at school, but I've got 3 screens, and it turns out I shared the wrong screen. So I got to do it again. If you got any questions, shoot me an email, grab me in office hours, and I'll see you later.